Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we can just remind ourselves what happened until this point from the chapter. So basically, in the beginning of the chapter, Krishna said to Arjuna that he'll give him knowledge which basically describes everything, matter, spirit, and the soul beyond this. So in the beginning of the chapter, Krishna is describing first material energy, the 8 different elements of the material energy, and then the living entities, which are higher transcendental energy of the Lord. And then Krishna is describing himself, and he's describing how he's pervading everything, and how he's the best of everything, and how more or less everything is maintained by him. So after describing all these things and giving different examples to Arjuna, the question arises, so if Krishna is everything and he's everywhere, why people are not conscious about that? And the simple answer was because they are influenced by the
Maya Apahrita Jnana.
Yeah, because they are influenced by Maya, and they are not conscious that Krishna is the cause of all causes. So we came to this point, and Pandava Prabhu explained how once Krishna is there, always there will be two kinds of people, or two groups of people. Some will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and some will not accept him. So now we'll continue with this part of chapter 7 of Bhagavad-gita.
Okay, so now in verse 15, Krishna describes these 4 types of unfortunate persons who do not surrender to him. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So these are the 4 categories. Anybody who does not surrender unto Krishna must belong to one of these 4 categories. Srila Prabhupada explains this in a lecture given in Vrindavan in 72. Srila Prabhupada says in this lecture, this is the conclusion, that if one is not Krishna conscious, we do not accept him as highly qualified. We test whether he has surrendered to Krishna. If not, then he comes to the 4 groups: Dushkritina, Mudha, Naradama, Maya, Pakrita, Jnana. We take it immediately. He must be one of them, either Dushkritina or Mudha or Naradama or Maya Pakrita. They cannot do anything good for the human society. That is not possible. Okay, so if somebody is not a devotee, he must be one of those 4 categories. So let's now describe shortly each category of these Dushkritinas. We'll read from a book by Srila Prabhupada called Renunciation Through Wisdom. So you can also read later on. I hope you read already the descriptions from Bhagavad-gita. So we want to give you some additional descriptions from this book of Srila Prabhupada. So the first are the grossly foolish, Muda. Srila Prabhupada writes, generally the gross fools and the ignorant fruitive workers do not surrender to the Supreme Lord. Such people never inquire into the absolute truth. They never ask such questions as, who is God? What is the world? Who am I? Why am I working like an ass my whole life? Or, what is the result of my endeavors? The ass slaves his whole life carrying the washerman's burden just for a handful of grass. Similarly, the karmis, fruitive workers, toil tirelessly simply to secure a supply of food and other necessities. The ass is a symbol of foolishness, for he works hard only to fill his belly and copulate with the she-ass. So also do the asinin karmis toil tirelessly out of affection and attachment, struggling to maintain their homes, and beyond that, the land of their birth, which they consider worshipable. In the home, the karmi's sole source of enjoyment is his wife, who cooks for him and provides pleasure for his misery-ridden senses. So, but nowadays, people don't even cook anymore. So, the short-sighted karmis do not want to know of any broader issues concerning themselves or their world. They are simply tethered to their home and bodily cares. And those leaders who foster the people's sensual lives are bigger fools and rascals than the ordinary karmis. Therefore, they never come in contact with the Bhagavad-gita or Lord Krishna. The word surrender means nothing to them. So, this is the description of the Muda, the first category, the grossly foolish. So they are just completely unaware of spiritual life. They don't want to know anything beyond gross sense gratification. And the example is the ass who works hard just for little food. Okay, so this is the first category. Then the second, the lowest of mankind, Naradama. People, Srila Prabhupada writes, people who do not surrender to the Supreme Lord are called Naradama, the lowest of men. Such men fritter away their human lives, behaving like animals. In other words, when a person does not use this rare human birth to achieve its actual purpose, but wastes it in degraded activities, he is called Naradama. So Naradama means he has intelligence, he has capacity to understand Krishna consciousness, but he rejects Krishna consciousness. The first category, the Mudas, they're simply
so stupid.
so yeah,
They cannot
they
get.
don't have even capacity to understand. But the Naradamas they have, and they probably, I mean not probably, they have. Should popularize this here. Therefore, another meaning of Naradama is one who rejects devotional service. So he came in contact, he understood to a certain degree what is it, and then he rejected it. So therefore, he is the lowest among mankind, because not the Muda, but the Naradama is lowest, lower than the Muda.
The word itself, Nara, means human, and Adama means very low, very fallen.
Low caste, yeah, low class.
So Nara Adama means the lowest from the human society. Not, as Pandava Prabhu said, not because they are not intelligent or they are not well established in the society, but because they had the opportunity to do the most precious thing in the human life, and they rejected it. So that's why they are considered the most fallen.
Similarly, there are two types of yogis. One type, they want to merge into Brahman. And there is another type, they want to merge into the body of the Lord. So amongst these two, those who want to merge with the body of the Lord are lower, because they had darshan with the Lord, they could have surrendered to him, but still they keep this stupid idea that I want to become the Lord. So in this sense, they're just like the Naradamas. So the third category, those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, Maya Pakrita Jnana. So maybe somebody can read from Bhagavad-gita.
Can I ask one question, Prabhuji? I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
So is that the yogi, whoever wanted to march to God after doing long time yoga, is it meaning they are Naradhama also? Because of that, they want to march with God?
No, they fall into different categories. I just gave an example that there are two categories of non-devotees, Muda and Naradama, and amongst them, the Naradama is lower because he had the opportunity to surrender, but he rejected devotional service. And in the same,
Okay, that's it.
yeah, in the same way, the two types of yogis, there is hierarchy there. Now, no, these yogis, they come where? Which category are they? Yeah, I guess they
are from the Sukritis, they are not from the Dushkritis.
the
They want to surrender, but they surrender in their own way. To some extent, selfish way.
okay. So the next class, maybe somebody can read from Gita. The next class of Dushkriti is called Mayapadhita Jnana. Can you find this? Or those persons whose erudite knowledge has been nullified by the influence of illusory material energy. Okay,
I can read. Okay. They are mostly very learned fellows, great philosophers, poets, literati, scientists, etc. But the illusory energy misguides them, and therefore they disobey the Supreme Lord. There are a great number of Maya Pakrita Jnana at the present moment, even amongst the scholars of the Bhagavad-gita. In the Gita, in plain and simple language, it is stated that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is none equal to or greater than him. He is mentioned, just leave it open. He is mentioned as the father of Brahma, the original father of all human beings. In fact, Sri Krishna is said to be not only the father of Brahma, but also the father of all species of life. He is the root of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma, the super soul in every entity. The super soul in every entity is his plenary portion. He is the fountainhead of everything, and everyone is advised to surrender unto his lotus feet. Despite all these clear statements, the Maya Pakrita Jnana deride the personality of the Supreme Lord and consider him merely another human being. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after the eternal and transcendental feature of the Supreme Lord. All the unauthorized interpretations of the Gita by the class of Maya Pakrita Jnana outside the purview of Parampara system are so many stumbling blocks on the path of spiritual understanding. The deluded interpreters do not surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow this principle.
So who are these people? Maya Pakrita Jnana. What is your understanding? Can we say, for example,
So the people who actually lost like this precious life, human life, they could do a lot, but actually they going behind the illusion. and ultimately it's kind of null and void. So they don't finally go anywhere. It's like sunnabadi,
Yes.
kind of. So they already
And who are those?
lost their knowledge.
Who are
Yeah.
those? Can you give an example? Like from what kinds of jobs?
What kinds of what is the question?
What is their occupation usually, these people?
I can say like material politician.
Politician.
Material politician.
Could be. Here, though, Srila Prabhupada explains that these are usually great philosophers,
Poets.
scientists, or people who are teaching Bhagavad-gita, for example, in the university. You know, they have Indology department, and they are
Their own philosophy they try to implement on Bhagavad-gita.
Yeah, exactly. So these
Not
people,
not like just okay.
they spend their whole life studying Sanskrit, studying Vedanta Sutra, the Puranas, Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So they are very knowledgeable in one sense, but their conclusion is that Krishna is just another person. So
They don't believe Krishna is the supreme personality.
no, they don't. They deride Krishna. They teach. Srila Prabhupada says here, the deluded interpreters do not surrender into the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow this principle. So these people are very dangerous and very harmful to themselves and to the rest of humanity, because they take the position of authority on Bhagavad Gita, and what they teach is just the opposite of the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, which is surrender to Krishna. Krishna says it in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, exactly. Krishna says, there is no truth superior to me. Krishna says, I am the Vedascha Sarvar Aham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Vedaviteva Chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedanta. I am the knower of the Vedas. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So these are all very clear statements. And they, because of envy, because they are Maya Pakrita Jnana, their knowledge is stolen by the illusion, they say that Krishna is just an ordinary person, just like us. So these are very dangerous people. We should not hear from them anything, let alone Krishna Katha. This is very dangerous. It's very contaminating. So the fourth type, these were the three types. Then the last one, those of demonic principles, Asurim Bhavam Ashritaha. Srila Prabhupada writes, another class of men who do not surrender to Lord Krishna are the demons, those who are staunchly inimical to him. Famous and powerful demon kings like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Jarasandha, and Kamsa acquired many mystic powers through learning and severe austerities, but because they always challenged the various incarnations of the Supreme Lord, such as Lord Rama, Lord Nrsimhadev, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Krishna, they are known as demons. Often the demons do not lack education or intelligence, but because of their fiendish mentality toward the Supreme Lord, their learning and brain capacity come to naught. Their abilities, being fully in the grip of material nature, are ultimately taken from them. The reason for the demon's failure has been stated earlier. If one does not surrender to Lord Krishna, it is impossible to surmount material nature. So these are the people who are openly inimical. They're to God. Their dream is to kill Krishna. And they always make different plans how to kill Krishna and how to kill all the devotees, the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas. This is the story in the Mahabharata. This battle of Kurukshetra was not just a local affair here on planet Earth, in between the royal family of the Kauravas. No. even from the beginning, the first chapter of Krishna book describes the real situation on our planet 5,000 years ago. The situation was that the demons, they were taking birth in royal families. So there was a universal plot how to come to this planet, because they knew Krishna will come. They knew Krishna will appear as his avatar, not avatar, the original form of the Lord. They knew that the demigods will come also with him, so they wanted to come and kill Krishna and enjoy. So this is what Kamsa says. Wouldn't that be nice to be able finally to rule the three worlds without any interference from the demigods and from Krishna? So this is their dream. They always try to do that. So these are the four types of dushkritina, of non-devotees, people who never surrender to Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to mention in the Bhagavad-gita, the names, it gives the name of this type of number 4, the class of duskriti is called asuram bhavam asritaha.
Yes.
That's the name of the class, the
Yeah.
last class. Mhm.
Yes.
Or shortly, you can say just Asura. Because
Oh, okay.
Asura
Asura.
means demon,
Mhm.
Bhava means nature, and Ashritaha means to accept. So those
Oh, okay.
personalities who accept the demoniac nature or demoniac mentality, they want to kill, they want to get rid of Krishna.
Oh boy, yeah, I see. Okay, so Asura.
Or you can just call them atheists, those who don't believe in Krishna. They don't want to see Krishna.
Can you repeat that again? The name?
Atheists.
Demons.
Oh, atheists. Okay, got it. Okay. Mhm. Thank you.
Srila Baladevi Vibhushan describes this last category, Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha, as follows. Under the influence of Maya, others take shelter of the demoniac mentality and propound the theory of an entity which is consciousness itself, without qualities, form, activities, and thoughts. So this is the Mayavadi's concept of Nirguna Brahman, the impersonal Brahman. So these yogis, they actually, impersonal yogis, they may fall actually into this category, Asurim Bhava Ashritaha. If they are offensive. There are other people who are just, they're called Brahmavadis, they don't know about Bhagavan, so they just, this is their concept of absolute reality. They think it's impersonal, but they're not offensive. But there are people, the Mayavadis are actually offensive, because they say that the body of the Lord is material. It's the greatest offense, Sri Prabhupada says. So with their arrows, these demons pierce my body, Krishna says, which gives everyone else bliss. Similarly, so these are the demons, they want to kill Krishna. Similarly, these persons now the Mayavadis, try to break my body using logic with statements such as, God has no qualities. Even though my body is famous in the scriptures as being eternal and conscious, the manifestation of such intelligence is caused by Maya. So it's clear. The Mayavadis are also demoniac, because they use logic in order to harm the body of the Lord, because they say Krishna actually doesn't have form, he doesn't have hands. This is all illusion. And in the same way, demons, they try to kill Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In the same way, the Mayavadis, they want to make him impersonal. Okay? Clear?
Yes. Okay.
So now we have 4 types of sukritina. Sukriti, happy,
Can read the
fortunate, persons.
This is verse 16. Chatur vida bhajante mam jana sukritina Arjuna arto jigyasur artarti jnani cha bharatar shaba. O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute.
They are exemplified by different devotees, these four. So the distressed, Artha, the example is Gajendra. Gajendra was in big distress, so he prayed to the Lord and the Lord appeared and saved him.
Is it the elephant devotee, right? Gajendra?
Gajendra. And the Lord
Yeah.
saved, the Lord also saved the crocodile, because the crocodile was also special. He was not ordinary crocodile, he was the king Huhu, who he was cursed by Agastya Muni because he was enjoying in the water, some river or lake, and with some girls, and then there was this sage also there, and he by mistake, I guess, he pulled up his leg. So when he was meditating then, so this sage became really angry, so he cursed him to become but then when the king very remorsefully begged for forgiveness, then the sage said that you will have darshan with the Lord, because he will come to save his devotee Gajendra, and then you will also be benefit. Okay, so this is Gajendra is the example of the distressed, and then the inquisitive, the example is Shaunaka Rishi, the leader of the sages of Naimisharani. They were asking the questions to Sutta Goswami. They were very inquisitive. And then the one who desires well is, the example is Dhruva Maharaj. He wanted to have kingdom bigger than the kingdom of his grandfather. And the seeker of knowledge of the Absolute is, the example is Shukadeva Goswami. So these are the examples. So now, according to the Acharyas, the inquisitive Jigyasu is placed between the distressed Arto and the desire of wealth, Artarti, because the distressed and the desire of the person who desires wealth, they must become curious about Krishna consciousness, Jigyasu, in order to make further spiritual advancement. So now Srila Prabhupada describes the Jigyasu as follows. This is from, okay, again, Renunciation to Wisdom. Innocent inquirers are known as Jigyasu, those who are inquisitive. These innocent inquirers are society's hope for the future. Most intelligent and innocent young children are inquisitive. They question their parents about many things and remember the answers. When these bright young boys and girls receive proper guidance from parents and teachers who can lucidly answer their queries, they easily understand each point and gradually develop fine brains. From among these intelligent souls, those who are especially pious begin to keenly inquire about God and other spiritual topics. So it's very important to take care of the children because they are naturally inquisitive. They ask questions. So if we answer properly their questions, they'll have chance to become Krishna conscious. Of course, we should also know how to properly. Anyway, it's a different topic. Okay. Yeah. You want to say something, please?
Yeah, we can read a little bit from the purport to verse 16. Unlike, this is the beginning of the purport, unlike the miscreants, these are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, and they are called Sukritina. So Kriti means activity, action. Dush means not good action. And Sukriti means good action. So these are the good guys. They are acting in a good way. Or those who obey the rules and regulations of scriptures, the moral and social laws, and are more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. Out of these, there are four classes of men: those who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, and those who are sometimes searching after absolute knowledge of the absolute truth. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. These are not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service.
Yes, so especially the first three categories, Arto, Jigyasu, and Arta-arti, are Sakama devotees. They want something in return from the Lord. They want to perform some service, but they are not unconditionally perform this. They want something in return. So their Sakama means with kama, with some material desire. Okay, and the fourth one, the Jnani, he's a Nishkama devotee. Nishkama means without desire. Because he does not have
without
material desire, because he does not have material desires. Now we'll quote Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that verse 16 describes three types of karma mishra bhaktas. Okay, sakama, the same thing. Karma mishra bhaktas, arto jigyasur, artarti. Okay, all these things are clear, right? Karma mishra bhakta, sakama devotee. Yeah, we don't have to explain these things.
I'm not sure right now. Can you repeat you say it again, the different types?
All right, so we have karma mishra bhakti.
Karma mishra.
Karma mishra bhakti means bhakti, which is mixed with mishra means with desire for material sense gratification.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And jnana bhakti means bhakti, which is mixed, not pure bhakti, not kevala bhakti,
not pure. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mixed with desire for impersonal liberation. So this is
okay.
So now this the first three types of persons described in this verse. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that they are karma because they want something from Krishna. The first one is stress, and the second one he wants money, and the third one he wants some. He's curious, so he wants some knowledge.
Okay.
Impress his friends,
Okay.
Other purposes. And then the jnana
it could be debate the any win the debate. So somebody very inquisitive about acquiring the knowledge to defeat somebody else.
Yeah.
So that type of things is not actual actual devotee.
It's a material thing.
It's a material thing. So like, yeah, I want to go to debate, so I need some knowledge, so I can debate and defeat them. So this is like material totally. Okay.
Yes. Still, later on, Krishna will explain that because they come to him, they are also great souls, because they come to Krishna to ask for all these things. They don't go to the demigods or to the demons or to some great personality. Therefore, they are qualified to become devotees. They can surrender, although they have material desires. So, and then the fourth one is Jnana Mishra Bhakta. So this is the Jnani who wants.
Prabhuji, I will have one question. Is it? I'm sorry for interruption.
Yes.
In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we saw that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Varanasi, and there was a lot of Vedantists came. They are also Jnani, and they did not, in the beginning, they did not accept without Vedanta how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became a sannyasi. He is not by their statement, he's not, he can be a sannyasi because he don't know Vedanta. So this type of, they are Vedantist. So this type of knowledgeable person, how will you tell them? Are they devotee also? Devotee of Krishna? Because they have also Vedanta knowledge, and they also very practicing all the rituals very proficiently. So how you define them?
No,
Are they also devotee?
they're not devotees, they're Mayavadis. They're
Okay, yeah, they are Mayavadi. Yeah, it is explained here. Yeah, I saw. Thank you. Yeah, they are Mayavadi, yes.
But then Mahaprabhu converted them, right?
Yeah, all of them. It's like about 100,000 came. It was a big crowd.
I think. Anyway, but they became devotees and they apologized.
Yeah. That did it. Yes, right.
There was this famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Veda Maya Murti Tumi Sakshat Narayana Kshema Aparada Purviya Kala Nindana. They told Mahaprabhu, you are you're the Vedas personified, and you are Narayana. You actually Narayana. You're the Lord. So please forgive us for our offenses. So they became devotees. But before that, prior to that, they were Mayavadis. So we don't accept them as devotees. Although they claim to follow the Vedas, they actually don't. So Jnana Mishra Bhakta is the Jnani. Then, interesting thing is that this Jnani, the fourth category, he's defined as a sannyasi with pure heart who worships the Lord with devotion and without material desires. So the question is, in this definition, the Jnani does not have a desire for liberation, right? So if he's free of desire for liberation, then why is he classified as a Jnani, as a Jnana Mishra Bhakta? He doesn't have desire for liberation. What is the influence of Jnana over him? So the answer is, although he does not desire liberation, but a relationship with the Lord, he prefers this relationship to be predominated by peace. That means he's Shanta Bhakta. He's a pure Bhakta, but he's Shanta Bhakta. Therefore, this is accepted as a Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Anyway, become a little technical here, but
Prabhuji, I'm not 100% clear on this. If you can give a little bit more clarification, please.
I'll repeat. So basically, the discussion here was we are speaking now about the fourth category, the Jnani, and Pandava Prabhu explained that one of the acharyas is describing this Jnani as a sannyasi with pure heart who is actually performing devotional service. So the question is why he is described as a Jnani and not as a Bhakta? He is performing devotional service. He is free from the desire for impersonal liberation. So why he is not just called a Bhakta, but Jnani? And the answer that acharyas are giving is that he doesn't want to have active relationship with Krishna. He doesn't want to be an active servant. He rather prefers mainly his relationship with Krishna to be a relationship in peace. So he meditates on Krishna. He fixes his mind on the form of Krishna, but he doesn't have desire to actively render him service. So that's why he is put in this category more, although he is at the same time Jnani and Bhakta, but he is put here in these verses a Jnani because of this.
Yes, like more isolated. He's more isolated, like himself, isolated on himself.
Yes. So This Jnani mentioned in this verse is not an ordinary Jnani impersonalist. So this is very important. Krishna says, this is again from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, and this is not in Bhagavad-gita, but sometimes, I mean, it's not in the verses of Gita, but sometimes the acharyas, they give more verses, so to say. So Krishna says, this Jnani, he has a predominance of bhakti, Eka bhakti, not like other Jnanis who have a predominance of jnana. He has great attachment for the process of bhakti alone. And he's a jnani in name only. So this is very important. He's actually the pure devotee. You can say, although he's a devotee, although he's Jnana Mishra Bhakta. He's a devotee, he's not a jnani, he's not an impersonalist. He's jnani in name only. I, in the form of Shyama Sundara, am exceedingly dear to such jnani. This is what Krishna says. Okay, so these are the 4 types of pious persons who surrender to Krishna. So these 3 types, the Sakama devotees who have material desires, they have to become jnanis. They have to become like this.
The 4th category.
The 4th category, the sannyasi with the pure heart who doesn't have any desire even for liberation. He just wants to serve the Lord. I mean, not actively, but he wants to meditate on the form of the Lord. So,
of course, just short comment. Someone may come to this category and externally he may not be in the social role of a sannyasi, but he should have this mentality.
Yeah.
He should be basically, within his heart, he renounces the material world. He doesn't have desires anymore for sense gratification. Rather, he wants just to serve Krishna.
Okay, then Krishna says that this jnani, the 4th type, he's always engaged in pure devotional service, and Krishna considers such a devotee just like his own self. Krishna uses the word Atmaiva, he is my own Atma.
This is in the verse
this is verse 18. Krishna says, of this,
yes.
the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. So he's just like me, Krishna says. Still, there is an even higher position than this. This is the Kevala Bhakta, the pure, unalloyed devotee, described in verse 1 of this 7th chapter. We started yesterday. Mai asakta mana parta yogan yunjan datashya. This type of devotee, Krishna says, he is even dearer than his very self. So for the Jnani, Krishna says he's my life and soul. Okay, you can say like this. He's dear like to me like I am dear. But for this Kevala devotee, for the pure unalloyed devotee described in 1st verse of 7th chapter, Krishna says in Bhagavatam 11, 14, 15, my dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Sankarshan, the goddess of fortune, nor indeed my own self is as dear to me as you are, Uddhava. So this type of devotee is even more dear. So there is gradation there. Anyway, if this is not completely clear, it will become clear later on.
Okay, thank you.
So now, because the Lord Krishna is so affectionate towards his devotees that he considers the Jnani as his own self at Maiva, immediately the Mayavadis, they jump there and they say that, aha, you see, that means there is no difference between Krishna and this Jnani, this devotee. That means we all one.
Atmaiva means he'll come to my Atma. He will become one with me.
And we are one.
This is how they want to interpret.
They always try to do that.
But of course, our acharyas are explaining that no, this is not true. Atmaiva means Krishna is expressing his great love to a devotee. That's why he's comparing it with himself. If someone is very close to you, you can say something like, you and me, we are one. We don't have separate existence, like that. It's a expression of love. It's not expression of
Monism.
Unity in a sense, how the impersonalists are explaining it.
Yes, and Baladev Vibhushan writes in his...
Is there one of the words says Aham Brahmasmi or something like that?
Yeah, same thing.
Like I am Brahma. So, and then they try to explain themselves. Oh, they all are God.
Yeah.
Correct.
Same.
There is no difference, God and them.
Yeah.
So that is okay.
So Baladev Vibhushan comments, the Jnani is called my Atma. Krishna is speaking here. The Jnani is called my Atma only because of my extreme affection for him. This is similar to saying out of affection, Bhadrasena is my very self. It's just expression of love. Doesn't mean that because love means that there should be two persons. If there is only one entity, there cannot be any love because nobody to love. And by definition, this one entity, Nirguna Brahman, this illusory concept that the Mayavadis have, by definition, he, although he cannot say he for him because he's not a person, Nirguna Brahman doesn't have feelings, nor
Emotions,
nor plans, nor desires, nor, so there is no love there. Okay. So the Mayavadis, they cannot understand these confidential loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees because why? Because they don't follow the disciplic succession of the devotees of the Lord. Yes.
So what is love to Mayavadi? Do they love their guru?
No. There is no love because it is illusion. It is illusory concept. We don't exist separately. We are not eternal individuals. We are not individual entities. We are one thing, and now under Maya, under the influence of Maya, we think that we are separated, but actually we're one. It's one thing. So as long as there is interpersonal relationship, you, me, him, that means we're in Maya. So love, friendship, all these nice things. The only thing that makes any sense in human existence, according to the Mayavadis, doesn't exist. These things are illusion. And what is reality? The Nirguna Brahman, the realization that you are the only entity that exists. Only you exist, nothing else. But you are not actually a person. You're just pure consciousness without any object. Which is absurd idea.
But they may externally act as if they experience love towards someone.
They're very good with this.
But at the end of the day, we can see that
they speak a lot about love. But
at the end of the day, we will see that their actions will be very selfish. Like Srila Prabhupada, one time he gave a lesson to the devotees. He was taking bath in a river, and when he was just about to come out, and he asked a devotee to help him, to give him his hand, so that Srila Prabhupada can use it and come out. And once he was out on the shore, he pushed the devotee, and the devotee kind of fell down a little bit back. And then Srila Prabhupada commented, this is what the Mayavadis are doing. They accept Guru, they use the Guru, and then they throw him out. So,
because you realize that you are Brahman, so you don't need a Guru anymore. Yeah. Okay, so although the Jnani is the best among the pious persons described in verse 16, the other three categories are also dear to Krishna. They're also appreciated by Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport to verse 18, maybe, okay, I'll read because it's just one sentence. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. So this is very interesting. The devotee who wants some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. So this is how Krishna sees this. I was thinking that if somebody comes to you and asks something from you, we don't often take this as a sign of affection from his part, right? We would rather take it as a sign of
he wants to use them.
Yeah, he's like that's why when we go out to distribute books, especially here in New York, when you approach somebody and he doesn't even want to recognize that you exist, he's just why? Because they don't accept you as Krishna accepts the devotees. According to their point of view, this is not a sign of affection. You want to use them. But I was thinking, so just see how Krishna accepts our feeble attempts to serve him. Although we are Sakama devotees, we have material desires. But he sees this as a sign of affection for him. This is amazing. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on the same verse 18 as follows. Arjuna asks, then that means the other three are not dear to you, because Krishna says this is the most dear. So our logic is, oh, that means the other three are not dear. And then Krishna says, no, they are all dear to me. They worship me while accepting objects which they have desired and which I wanted to give them anyway. So that means we shouldn't actually ask Krishna for material things because he will give them anyway for us. So that's what he says here. They want, I would have given this anyway to them, but now they particularly ask for this, so okay, I will give. But I wanted to give them anyway, these things. They are very dear to me. Not just dear, they are very dear to me because I'm affectionate to all devotees and like to give them generously. So, but the Jnani is my very self. He worships me and does not desire anything at all from me, neither Svarga nor Moksha. Thus I'm dependent on him. He is my soul. So still the Jnani is higher. But they're all very appreciated by Krishna. Okay, so shall we go now to this, what we read today, or we just finish the discussion?
Yeah, maybe just read verse 19.
Okay, then the Lord continued, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Okay. Oh, there are some other things here, but we will skip them. Again, we are dealing with the Mayavadis here. Okay, and then according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, after hearing this verse, Arjuna asked a question, although it's not in the Bhagavad-gita, but the acharyas, therefore they have this name Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because they know how the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna went. They know more about this. So Arjuna asks, it is understood from what you have said that the Sakama Bhaktas, because they worship you, the Lord, who responds to them, become somewhat successful. Somewhat successful means that the Sakama Bhaktas, who are the Sakama Bhaktas? They have material desires. They worship the Lord, but they have material desires. So, but they become somewhat successful. What is the meaning of this? That means they achieve their respective goals, so they get what they want, material, and at the end they attain liberation in the form of Salokya.
Go back to the spiritual world.
They go back to Vaikuntha
Haribo.
and attain the same. They live on the same planet as the Lord forever, although they worship the Lord with material desires. So maybe this is shocking news for you, devotees. So you have material desires, you worship the Lord with material desires.
Krishna.
And instead of Krishna being angry that you just what is this fruitive mentality? It's mercantile.
Yeah.
And Krishna just kick you out of of his association. What happens? Krishna gives what you want, all the material desires he fulfills, and then at the end of life, he takes you to Vaikuntha. Of course, you don't go to Goloka, which is reserved for the unalloyed devotees, but you'll go to Vaikuntha. Because Lakshmi Devi is very merciful. She's the master of Vaikuntha. But Radharani is very strict. She's extremely merciful, but she's also strict. So, okay, so back to the question. It is understood from what you have said that Sakama Bhaktas, because they worship you, the Lord, who responds to them, become somewhat successful. So now the question. But what happens to those who have material desires and worship the devatas with the desire to remove their suffering or gain material pleasure? So this is the question. What happens to those who don't worship you and worship the demigods?
So in other words, someone has material desire and worships Krishna, then we understood. He'll get whatever material he wants, and gradually he'll advance and he'll go back to the spiritual world. But what happens with those who want something material, but they are not ready to worship Krishna directly? They want to worship some demigods.
Then in that point, can Mataji, you want to say?
I was going to say that
Okay, Mataji, you go for it.
Well, it's somewhere I read it or read it, that they would go to where the demigods are. They'll go to their realm.
Correct. Yes, Bhagavad-gita is saying this.
Saying that, yes. Okay.
Just before going to the next topic, which is the demigod worship, I just want to take 5 minutes, and I want to ask you, if you remember yesterday, I gave you like a small homework. Out of those 8 categories, which one you think you are? So those of you who kind of thought about that, can you just say shortly? And who won?
8 categories means which one? Artha or 30? Those are, and
the 4 that they never surrender, and the 4 that they surrender. Out of those 4 good and 4 bad ones, where do you think you are?
Okay.
Honestly.
For myself.
Yes. With sentence, shortly.
Yes.
And why? Because of this. Shortly.
Okay. For myself, I'll put myself in the kind of Jnani, but I cannot say myself 100% Jnani level, because my final goal to increase my bhakti out of those four things. And other for negativity, definitely I have it, but I think myself, I always defeat them. So with my dedication, whatever I have, it's not 100% bhakti definitely, but I try to get association with bhakta. So from that point, I feel definitely I can defeat them, because devotees are really great and they always help me to defeat them.
Thank you, Prabhu. Someone else?
Honestly, I didn't get to think on this, on your question, Tulsidas.
So,
Can you repeat the question? What we're to examine ourselves against?
where are we? In these 8 categories, where are we?
Oh, okay.
Each
So
of-
there's
Right.
4 on the good side and there's 4 on the opposite,
the good guys and the bad guys.
and the good and the bad.
Take your time, think about
Mhm.
it. Next time maybe you can tell us what do you think about it.
Okay, all right. I will. Thank you. I will work on that.
Prabhu, you're there?
Yeah. Hello?
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Hare Krishna. I'm in my car, so I'm sorry. You know? Yeah. It's working. But honestly, I would like to think I was the Ginigani, if that's the one that's, you know, it doesn't have any desires from God. But, you know, in reality, I know I probably am the person who has desires from Krishna. But, you know, like I'm not sure, like, if you have a desire, but you don't ask, I know that Krishna knows in your heart what you have as a desire. But if you still, you know, like, say, I'm not going to ask for these things or think about these things when I'm praying, you know, like, I don't know if it makes any difference if you have desires for material things in your heart. And, you know, but I know that I do have desires and like things that I want and things that I want to achieve in this world. And that's just the reality of where I am, you know, in my consciousness. And like, even though I would like to go to Goloka, because like, is Vaikuntha is not Vrindavan, right? Vaikuntha is not Vrindavan.
Not Vrindavan.
Or
It's spiritual world, but it's not Vrindavan. Okay,
yeah.
thank you for being honest. Yeah, actually, we
Oh.
can see that we have some mix. We are not one pure kind, but rather we have mixture in our motivation. From one perspective, we want to be pure and selfless and serve Krishna selflessly. Sometimes we see that actually our motivation is not so selfless. So it's a good exercise sometimes to analyze ourselves. Why we are doing bhakti? Why we are doing devotional service? Do we want something in return from Krishna? What we want, how much we want? This is very helpful. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is in one place, he's advising that we do such analysis on every Ekadashi. That means 2 times a month. We just take little bit time and analyze ourselves. What are we doing? How are we doing in our spiritual life? Do we have to improve something? Where are our weaknesses? So we should have such a periods in our spiritual life. And in this way, it's sure that we will continue moving in the right direction. Otherwise, sometimes without even knowing, we may deviate a little bit from the right track. So this is something we can do regularly in our spiritual life. Okay, so Panda will just come now and we'll continue with the next section. Until he comes, I'll just read the verses. So the next section is demigod worshippers, verses from 20 to 23. Kamais tais tair hrittagyana prapadyante anyadevataha tam tam niyamamastaya prakritya niyata svaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Text 21. Yo yo yam yam tenum bhakta shraddha architum ichchati tasya chalam shradam tam eva vidadamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. 22. Sa taya shradaya yuktas tasyardhanam ihate labate cha tata kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. And though with such a faith he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. And the last verse from this section. Antavattupalam tesham mat bhavati alpamedasam devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mam api. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So basically, few main things are said in this section. The first main thing explained in this section is that those people who are very eager to worship demigods are doing this because they have very, very strong material desires. And they have this fear, oh, maybe if I approach Krishna directly, he may not fulfill my material desires. So, okay.
And they are right about this.
And they are right. So let me better approach the demigods so that I'm sure that very fast my material desires will be fulfilled. So that's one thing we learn from the demigods. Then the next thing is that even if some demigod fulfills the desire of such a person, actually Krishna is giving him the power to do so. So at the end of the day, we can say that although they are getting their benefits from the demigods, actually they are getting them again from Krishna, because Krishna is the master of the demigods. And Krishna is saying that when he sees that someone wants to dedicate himself to worship very seriously some demigod, Krishna from his heart is making his faith very, very strong, so that he can dedicate to this demigod. We may say, why is that? Why Krishna is doing this? Why he doesn't make the things in such a way that they lose their faith to worship some demigod and rather make their faith strong to worship him? But no, Krishna, he wants to make them dedicated to follow some authority, to achieve their goal, but by following authority. So from this perspective, he doesn't have problem with this. Of course, later in 9th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, we will hear something different. We will hear that Krishna is calling these people unintelligent, and he is saying that actually they are worshipping him in the wrong way, avidipurvakam, not in the right way. Like, for example, you want to go and get some benefits from the government, and you can go to a certain place and apply your documents, and after some time get the benefits. But you can do it in the other way. You can do it indirectly by going through some back roads, giving bribe to someone so that you can get whatever you want. So in 9th chapter, Krishna is saying for the demigod worshippers that they are worshipping him, but not in the right way.
There is another reason why the demigod worshippers are less intelligent, because it is because the benefits they attain are temporary. Because the demigods themselves are limited, the results, the blessings that they can give are also limited. So therefore, the demigod worshippers are less intelligent. The devotees, of Krishna, they worship Krishna, they attain eternal result, and the demigod worshippers attain temporary results. Not only temporary, but inferior also. Of course, there is a question that Arjuna asked. If the devatas are your bodies, angas of Krishna's body, then worshipping them should give the same result as worshipping you directly. And Krishna answers, those who worship the devatas, demigods, with the proper understanding that they're worshipping me, they're worshipping just different limbs of my body, they attain eternal result. But those who worship the demigods thinking that they're separate from me, like separate gods, they attain only temporary result. Okay, so the next section, 24 to 28, describe another category of less intelligent men. These are the impersonalists. So Krishna described the demigod worshippers as less intelligent. Alpa medasam is the Sanskrit word. And the impersonalists are described even less charitably as abudaya. That means unintelligent.
No intelligence at all.
Yes.
So the demigod worshippers, at least they have some intelligence. Small, but some. But the impersonalists, Mayavadis, they are described as no intelligence at all.
So the Lord continued, unintelligent men, abudaya, who do not know me perfectly, think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme.
This is verse 24.
Yes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Krishna says, the unintelligent think that the formless Brahman, the Nirguna Brahman, beyond the material world, Avyaktam, has taken birth as myself in the house of Vasudeva, with an illusory form. What is now visible as Krishna is just an illusory form. This is because they do not know my transcendental state. They do not know that my form, birth, activities, and pastimes are beyond Maya. Mama param bhavam. What type of state is this? It is eternal, abhyayam, and most excellent, anuttamam. So the Mayavadis think that Krishna is material, and this is great offense.
This is very important verse. We can use this verse to some extent to defeat the Mayavadi philosophy, because very obviously here Krishna is saying that what is the wrong understanding of those people.
What is the number? Is number 20?
24.
The verse number?
24.
24, okay.
So basically Krishna is saying those people, they have the wrong idea that before I was impersonal and now I accepted a personal form. But Krishna is saying that's the wrong idea. And exactly this is the idea of the Mayavadi. So Krishna in this verse is basically crashing the Mayavadi philosophy. It's very powerful verse. We can know it and we can use it in case we need to.
And then Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent, the Mayavadis. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible.
This is verse 25.
So the Lord is covered by his energy, which prevents unqualified persons from understanding him, but this covering does not work both ways. Although no one knows him, the Lord, being the source of everything, knows past, present, and future, and also he knows all living entities. On the other hand, nobody knows Krishna completely. Okay, so Krishna knows everybody completely, but only those whom he chooses can know him.
These were the verses 26 and 27.
Mhm.
So basically, people, they don't know Krishna. This is described in verse 25. People, they don't know Krishna because Krishna is covered by his illusory potency, Maya Shakti. But at the same time, Maya is not acting on Krishna.
Yeah.
Krishna is the Supreme Brahman. So he knows everything and he knows everyone. Although no one who is covered by his Maya knows him.
Okay, and the last thing we will say for today is verse 27. Krishna says, O son of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So, in the beginning of the creation of the universe, all the jivas became bewildered because they desire objects pleasant for the senses and hate everything that obstructs the pleasure of the senses. So this is the duality of desire and hate. I want to enjoy, and I hate everything that is on my way to enjoy. So this desire and hate, icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena varta. These desire and hate are activated by ancient, very old impressions stocked in the mind of the conditioned soul. Because we in the material world, since time immemorial, and we have developed so many material desires and tastes. So this duality of desire and hate cause complete ignorance, and this ignorance and bewilderment manifests as extreme attachment to matter. We're extremely attached to material sense gratification. And why is this a problem? Because if we are extremely attached to matter, we cannot perform devotional service. We are disqualified for bhakti. Because according to Srimad Bhagavatam, who is qualified to perform bhakti? If somehow or other, Bhagavatam says, this is Bhagavatam 11:28. If somehow or other, by good fortune, one develops faith in hearing and chanting my glories, such a person, being neither very disgusted with nor attached to material life, should achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion to me. That means the qualification for performing bhakti is that we shouldn't be too attached to material sense gratification, or we shouldn't also be too disgusted by material activities. If we are too attached, then that means we are qualified not for bhakti but for karma. And if we are too disgusted, too repelled, that means we are qualified for jnana, not for bhakti. Okay, we'll continue next time. Thank you, dear devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
See you Sunday.
Sunday.
Hare Krishna,
and
Hare
is there-
Krishna, thank you.
Next will be the chapter.
Yeah, we'll We'll conclude with chapter.
We have a little bit more to
six.
finish with 7th chapter, and then we'll continue
Yes.
with 8. So please read 8th chapter for the next time.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
And also those
Hare Krishna.
yeah, homework for 8, do it for the next time.
Here we come, we go. Thank you. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you. Hari Bol.
Haribol.